are live.
Woo!
This is an iconic moment. You're going to see why in a second. It's the Culture Smash Cast, episode 630 for August the 2nd, 2023. I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of the Culture Smash Cast. Nico?
Nicholas Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast.
Tina?
Tina Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast.
Zach?
Oh, hey. I'm Zach. I'm an idiot.
That's true.
Haven't seen movies really late because I thought we were going to talk about them, and then forcing myself to, even though I just wanted to take a nap.
No one said that we were talking about that movie this
I'm
week.
sorry. When someone gives a certain rating,
And someone was right about that, but we'll get to that when we talk about that movie.
mostly right.
We'll see.
Uh,
Yeah, we'll see. All right.
anyway, I'm an idiot.
But this week we are still trying to do our best to follow strike guidelines. I have some strike information I'm going to share after I do this little intro. Join us every Wednesday night live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook starting at around 7 p.m., 6 p.m. CST. Follow us on your favorite platform and interact with us. Join the conversation because we do watch the chats. If anyone wants to say anything, we certainly appreciate the interaction. Special thanks to Skinny Mixes for supporting the Culture Smash Cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are 0 sugar, 0 calorie, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their delicious syrups, such as the white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, and salted caramel, and the variety of cocktail mixes, including water infusions they offer. Margarita is my favorite. Head on over there. Use promo code CultureSmash for 15% discount on your order. They are having a sale right now, and it's stackable. So the sale's pretty limited. I think it's just like $1 a bottle, but then you stack our discount on top, and you do $50 or more and get free shipping. You can get a pretty good savings. So now's a good time to go on over there and pick up some stuff. So what's everybody been up to this weekend? What'd you guys get into?
I saw 4 movies since last time.
Heck yeah. After my own heart.
I've seen Talk to Me, Haunted Mansion, Ladybug and Cat Noir the movie,
Oh, yeah.
and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Oh, nice.
I've seen one because I was on call, so I had work responsibilities all last week, so I only saw something last night, which is the new Turtles movie. I think we'll probably talk about that on a later show when everybody else has seen it. It like just opened. Like today is like the official opening day, but it was open last night in theaters.
Nice. Zach, you got anything to say?
Well, you know what I did Saturday night.
I know what you did last summer.
You saw me.
I saw you.
And then Sunday, my friends came into town. We went and saw a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot speak and listen to myself at the same time due to a delay. But this movie was projected in a special way. I don't know if I can say yet.
We'll get around to that discussion.
And then I went and also saw Talk to Me.
Yeah. So what he is mysteriously referring to is we had a little game night Saturday night. And let me share with you guys one particular
God damn
spectacular part of said
Hey Bush,
game night.
what's up?
So, Bush, hey, what's up in the chat? So before we get into our bigger discussion, I got to share this with you guys because Nico and Tina, you guys will really appreciate this. So we were having a big game night, and I brought a little game that was sent to me for review called Celluloid, a game I highly recommend you guys check it out because it's a really great party game. So basically the way the game works is it's a deck of cards that have different time periods, characters, scenarios, genres, all this stuff in them. And as a group, you pull 2 cards. And those cards might start with an era, might be 1970s. The other card might say a genre like comedy. Then you go around the table and each person has to name a movie that fits those 2. And then if you can't name something, you're eliminated from the round. Then it comes back around to the dealer. They pull a 3rd card. So it says Secret Agent. Then you have to have a 1970s movie that's a comedy and also features something to do with Secret Agent.
It has a monster.
Yeah. It has a bathroom. That was a card that we pulled. So it's a really fun game. It's conversational. Some of the words are arguable and it can start fights, which is great. Like icon was one. So some people played it literally. Some people like me played it a little more less literal. Anyway, what was great about this is somebody rolled up the table.
I don't know who that could be.
Like flopping his balls around like Mr. Badass. Like so full of himself because we were playing a
movie guessing game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your dick on the table.
Yeah,
boys.
that's what happened.
Here we go.
And then what happened to you, Zach? What happened?
I thoroughly got decimated.
In one round, turn. 0 cards in Zach's pile.
And how many cards in your pile, Steven?
I wasn't flopping my balls around. I wasn't trying to act like I was the king of all.
0 cards in your pile.
I wasn't playing like an asshole, though. I was just like, let's play. It'll be fun. Zach's like, no, we got to play quotes. We got to play this. He wanted hard mode.
That's rules.
Yes. And it wouldn't have helped you.
Boys, let me tell you, if you go to play this game, you might want to enact a house rule that we discovered.
Yeah.
No Marvel films.
Or at least no Avengers Endgame, because that movie has so much shit in it.
How much shit you can fit in that movie. Because
the way it works is if you pick a movie that has the first 2 cards in it, on the third flip, you can continue using that movie as long as it works. And the person who was playing, I think, got through like 6 cards.
It was 6 or 7 cards.
Something was finally flipped that wasn't in that freaking movie. It was time travel. It was that was where the bathroom is. Phone. Yeah. It's just like ridiculous. But it's a really fun game, and I really thoroughly enjoyed watching Zach slide down a hill like Disney stock as the last few weeks.
It was some bullshit.
It was delicious.
But I mean, it was all my bad, though. There's nothing like, it's not like I was given a bad hand. It's like,
no, you had the same hand as everybody else.
Use your brain, name an 80s documentary, and you're like,
Oh, everybody was so scared I was going to get that, and I was so scared I was going to judge something that was too new, and I went with something 2 years too old. I was like, damn it!
Maybe I should have been great.
1970.
Yeah, I can think of 70s documentaries. I can think of 90s documentaries.
Oh, and then Mike had to rub it in my face that one of my favorite documentaries of all time, he had to remind me it was from 1986, and I knew that. I fucking knew it. Anyway, I know it's a little inside baseball, but that was our weekend, outside of seeing movies. So, before we get into the main core of the discussion, talking about movies, Tina, do you have a film ball update?
I do. So in the main game, in 5th place, and let's be honest, I'm moving to the TikTok round, is me. But I broke 100 million. I am at 108.6 million. In 4th place is Nico with 410.8 million. In 3rd place is Steven with 585.5. In 2nd place is Nathan with 593.2 million. And right now in 1st place is Zach with 658.3 million.
Ooh, it's getting close, boy.
It's getting close.
Do you have a list of like what our predictions were?
Yeah. If you go to movie bidding sheet.
Okay.
So while he's pulling that up, I'll do a quick recap of what this is, because we haven't recapped the game on the show in a while. And basically, our fantasy film ball is this. We each get 100 virtual dollars. We look at a 4-month period of movies that are coming out to theater, domestically only, and we bid on the movies that we think are going to make the most money in the first 4 weeks of wide release. And we spend the next 4 months tallying it up and smack talking each other, and that's where these numbers come from.
Yep.
If you want to play, all you got to do is let me know. You can hit me up on the socials, and I'll have those at the end of the episode, just like we always do, and we may be able to add you into the next game.
I just can't get over
the poor performance of your movie.
Yeah, but like the poor performance on my movies, and like I looked at like because one thing we do when we do our bidding, after the bidding is done, we basically assess ourselves like, all right, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to perform the best?
Everyone but Nico.
Yeah, it was almost everyone. Yeah, everyone put me. No one put Zach. Zach is like nowhere in placing.
In fact, Zach himself said Zach is going to be 3rd.
You know what? It might happen though.
Well, it still could. It could still happen. It's so crazy right now, though, because Barbie had a bigger opening than Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So it's interesting. Nathan, I talked with him. He's the only reason Nathan is not on the show is because he hasn't seen the movies we're talking about. And he is confident that he is going to slip up and pass up Zach, and I think he probably will. I think it's going to happen.
He has a good chance because
he still has the Meg too. He still has Gran Turismo. And he still has Haunted Mansion, which has come out, but we don't have tickets for it yet.
We don't have numbers yet.
And Barbie is still racking up money.
Yeah.
Well, what's the numbers for how close it is between us again?
It's around 100.
Between you two is 65 million.
But between Steven and Nathan, it's 7 million.
That's gonna be a fucking.
Yeah, Nathan's about to pass me.
That's gonna be a
finish. But he's gotta widen that distance because all your movies are out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got to finish up Barbie, and he's got the Meg. And the Meg is not going to be huge, but it's worth a good 30, 40 million probably, maybe 50. So you're doomed.
Look,
I'm going to be shipping this trophy to Florida. That's what's going to happen.
Look,
all right.
I will live with a photo finish or, being bested by some dog shit.
But it is...
I'm not a fan of just getting blown the fuck out of the water and feeling like this was pointless.
It is interesting because we picked Nico because of not one particular movie, but he had a good grouping of movies, but his entire grouping is underperforming.
Yeah.
It's such a
TikTok
sadness.
game update. So Dustin is in 5th place with 146.5. Steven, stop pointing your finger in my face. Oh my God.
You also have the next movie because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Steven is in 4th place with 263.6 million. In 3rd place is Andrew with 556 million. Chris is in 2nd place, 684.9 million. And in 1st place is Jason with 705.5 million. Now, keep in mind, the difference between 1st and 2nd place is 20.6 million. And let's see, Jason still has the Meg 2 and Gran Turismo. And who did I say was 2nd? Chris. Chris, let's see, he has no movies. He still has Barbie coming out, like money from Barbie, but that's pretty much it. So
and I think I still have money coming from Oppenheimer in that one. It's not going to, I'm nowhere near enough to win anything, but I should bump up a little bit.
Yeah, and you still have Harold and the Purple Crayon and the Haunted Mansion. So
yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So let's talk about, real quick, I want to do a little update on what's happening with the strike because that's part of what's changed our show. And there are some updates. The first thing I want to talk about is what's going on with Sarah Silverman. I don't know if have you seen this, Zach?
No.
Okay, so basically what happened a couple of weeks ago is the WGA and SAG crafted a contract that if a studio or specific movie production would sign the contract, that contract guarantees that anybody involved in their current movies will be back paid whatever is needed to lift up their salaries to the agreed upon amount when the strike is over. And it also says that these movies that are in production, whatever company they sell to, streaming, theater, whatever, have to be in compliance after the strike is over also. So it's a safety net of, hey, these are companies that have agreed to whatever terms is necessary to get production back going. And it's great. So because things are so confusing, there's been a few actors that stepped away from those movies when they didn't need to. But the big one is Sarah Silverman. She went heavy in the press saying this is stupid. All it's going to do is make the strike take longer, blah, blah, blah. Like very big on Instagram and TikTok in particular, because that's where she was posting, I think. So she ended up having a meeting with SAG, the head of SAG, which weirdly is Fran Drescher, the nanny, is the president of SAG. If no one knew that, it's pretty funny. But she's hardcore too. She's not fucking around with this stuff. And explained it to her what I already knew. I feel like most people already knew. Sarah Silverman was just in her little box. And basically the point of allowing that is, one, it lets some journeyman craft people work. and get to work for the right amount of money. But the big thing is it holds a mirror up to the big studios, and it says to them, these small independent studios can afford to fucking pay us what we deserve. And you're saying you can't. It indirectly, it allows people to work, but it also applies more pressure to the big studios. How can Paramount come out and say, oh, we can't afford it, we're struggling, when tiny little studios, even smaller than like Neon, are saying, yeah, we can do it, we can pay it, it's fine. And they're not releasing big tentpole movies. It's indie stuff that's going to art houses. So that's what's going on right now. It's interesting, and it's working, because the AMPTA, I always get it mixed up, I mix the letters up, which is the organization that represents all of the major Hollywood studios, sent a letter yesterday to SAG, an open letter, requesting a meeting. So they're having a sit down Friday, and then my understanding is that sit down is not a negotiation, it is a planning meeting for negotiations moving forward. So it's a big deal, because the WGA and the AMPT, what the fuck, they haven't spoke since the 1st of May. So it's been a long time. So that's what's happening right now. I hope that means things are about to kick in. We'll see. But anyway, just if anyone is curious that listens, it can be tough to break it down and keep up with it. That's where we are.
One thing I love, though, is on TikTok, there's so many TikToks made of like the particular episode of The Nanny where Maxwell Sheffield drags her across the the picket line, and it's like that's being used so much now. It's made me want to rewatch The Nanny again.
Right. Also, there's a great, if you're a TikTok user, there's a great TikTok called Scabs of TikTok, and it literally is going out and duetting and sharing and tagging people that are in the industry that are obviously scabbing.
Interesting.
The one who's been the worst right now has been that guy, Stephen Amnell, I think is his name, the guy that played Arrow in the Arrow TV show on CW. He's been really out there making some mistakes, but it's interesting. It's fun to watch that channel, and a lot of it is influencers that are still taking brand deals and still promoting movies when they're not supposed to be. So, whoopsie. The court of public opinion has been very hardcore on some people, and I'm here for it. I've enjoyed it. Okay, so let's talk about movies, because this is the one thing we can do. We can review movies, and Tina and I recently saw Insidious: The Red Door. The movie is directed by Patrick Wilson, also starring Patrick Wilson, written by Lee Winnell, which is not necessarily a positive note, but it stars also Ty Simpkins, Patrick Wilson.
It has a lot of the original cast from
Rose Byrne. Yeah, a lot of the original people. So before we dig into it too much, I want to give a perspective where I'm coming from. I've only seen one of the movies to completion, and it's been so long I barely remembered it. I only remember a joke because it was a funny joke that Zach reminded me of. That's Yahtzee! Yahtzee, motherfucker! You gotta add the motherfucker at the end. So the Lamberts must go deeper into the further than ever before to put their demons to rest once and for all. That's the IMDb description for this fucking movie. Tina, so what is your background going into this? Have you seen all of them? Any of them?
I did not see all of them. I've only seen 1 and 2 because I refused to pay to see 3 and 4, especially when 3 and 4 are dealing with Elise, who is the psychic who is killed at the end of 1. And you don't really need those 3 and 4 movies to go into the Red Door, which is good because, again, I'm not paying to see these movies because I don't really... The first one was okay. The second one was meh. I wasn't really going to pay to see other movies like that. So I only saw the first 2, which was dealing with the Lamberts.
So what on a positive note, what I will say is if you haven't seen all of the movies or many of them or any of them, whatever, the movie does a pretty good job of setting things up without making us suffer flashbacks and all this stuff. There's not like a long, here's where we are up to now, like YouTube-y recap like I was kind of expecting. It sets up the core important pieces so you know how to move forward with the story.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really if you hadn't seen any of the movies previously, you would probably want some expansion on. They do like a fourth grader attempt at covering the major parts, like the fourth grader history lessons, which is like the dad attacking the mom and kids when they were in the second movie, and the reason for that. So, but other than that, you can go in pretty much cold.
So that's kind of like the sort of real setup. They don't tell you anything in the. I am a fan of not giving too much away in your description, but that description on IMDb is not enough. Basically, you have the dad and the son. The son is going off to college. We do learn in a previous movie, I guess, like you said, it's number 2, that the dad had been, like, I guess, possessed or whatever, and because of that was attacking the family. Well, they dealt with that, but in order to completely get over it and get away from the further, which is like the astral plane, I guess, or whatever, demon world, whatever, they get hypnotized to forget about it so that they don't know about it. Well, just like every time hypnotism happens in the movies, it starts to creep its way back in weird ways in this movie. And that's the whole thing, is they have to come to terms with it, realize what they've been through, and find a way to end it. That all sounds great. But is it great?
No, it isn't.
Go ahead.
I don't know. This, if we're getting into the review of the movie, I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd. It relied so much on jump scares that it forgot that it had a story. And the story was just all over the place. Like, it felt like they had so many loose ends to tie up that they didn't know where to start tying. So they just decided to jumble it all together and hope something knotted. I did not enjoy this movie. Again, it relied so much on jump scares that it wasn't really a scary movie.
Well, okay, and see that for me, the first, I don't know, 15 minutes of the movie, 15, 20 minutes, I thought was pretty effective because it did focus on character development. We did get relationship stuff with the father and the son, and there were some jump scares that were okay because they weren't following the porn rule where you have to have a jump scare every 7 minutes or whatever. They were sprinkled in the right spots or whatever.
As soon as the kids got out for college, though, all of that goes out the window.
Exactly. And that's where the movie falls apart. It starts stepping away from, you'll love this, Zach, it starts stepping away from the rules that it's set up for its world in order to get jump scares. Yeah. Yeah, it really becomes scare after scare after scare after scare. And the story really stops making sense at that point.
Rules are important in horror films. I'm sorry. You don't break your fucking rules.
World building and scares go hand in hand. A jump scare is all it is a startle without context.
Yeah.
And if you have good context, you have good creepy world building and that kind of thing, then it works. But in this movie, go ahead.
Half the time you can tell when a jump scare in this movie is coming because it'll either get like completely silent and just zoom in on one thing, or the music crescendo. So it's like, even then you don't get the full jump scare like experience. You can prep yourself for it.
And everything is telegraphed. Yeah, like that. So one of the things that bothered me the most is, so this father and son have been hypnotized to forget everything, right? But when someone from their past shows up, the storytelling forgoes the weird awkwardness of like, who are you? Why do I know you? It's just they start fucking name. Yeah. They just start fucking talking like it's no big deal, And there is a zinger at the end that's just there for nostalgia, and I'm not even a fan of the franchise, and I know this, where this character, the father, sees someone he should not know that appears out of nowhere. He reacts to that person, they have a nice moment, and the person disappears. And I'm like, one thing, they just appeared and disappeared, which should be weird, but 2, why are they standing randomly in the driveway in front of your house and you don't wonder who they are? And it's because
why do they know your kid's name, which you've never told them because you're just now meeting them? And you don't, as a parent, you don't think to question, why the fuck do you know my kid's name?
Mm-hmm. It's canon. I'm calling it canon familiarity. Because it's in canon, because we've seen previous films, we don't need to have all the like real world interactions that you would have with someone who you fucking been told you don't know.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
That's what it is. And that's the biggest problem with this movie is it leans into, hey, here's a little nostalgia moment for you. It doesn't lean into story. It leans into and I've been complaining about this for months because I feel like half the movies we see.
Berries.
Yeah. And it's bad. The movie's bad. It could have been better, could have been fun, was bad.
Honestly, my favorite part was, or my favorite character interaction was the mom, because she was like, nah, fuck this shit. And the roommate was like, this is too much. I just got attacked. I'm out. And then she fully revamps her character's opinion. Is like, oh, the lights are going weird. I better go check on this guy who, I've only known for like 5 minutes and possibly get attacked by a demon again. Who knows? Spoilers, she gets attacked by a demon again.
Spoilers, yeah, she does get attacked by a demon. I didn't have any expectations going in because the franchise just never looked good to me. The movies never looked good. They looked cheap, and it's Blumhouse, and I have a very much hate relationship with Blumhouse. They do have some good movies, but 90% of them I don't like. So
the thing with Insidious, when it came out, there was another movie that came out that had my interest more, and the names were so similar that I always got them confused a little bit. Because Sinister came out, and I fucking love Sinister, with like the kids are the ones who are filming their entire family's death, and so the next family will then see, like that. I love that movie. And I think they only made like 1 or 2 of those.
So interesting about that movie, I've never seen it. I haven't seen Sinister. Yeah,
the first one's a good fun time.
Well,
I wouldn't say it's anything amazing. It's got a couple good scenes that are like.
Well, we're about to find out because a TikTok follower just sent it to me.
Awesome.
So now I have it. I'm going to watch it. So I don't really know what else to say except this is a bad movie. It's just there for people who love all of them.
If you really haven't seen it, please wait until it comes out. Don't spend money on this movie.
Yeah, you don't need to go to the theater. I mean, I liken it to, if you like Halloween and you're a collector and you have to have the whole box set for completion, and Halloween Resurrection just kind of sits in the box because you have the box set. That's what this movie is. It's a pass. It's a pass. All right, so let's talk about something bigger. Something that I am really sad is out of the zeitgeist and out of the conversation because of Barbenheimer. It got screwed, honestly. It got screwed.
It happened again.
It did happen again. This has happened to this franchise before. But we're talking about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. We've all seen it. If Nico can come back, let him know where. Oh, there he is. That we're talking about it. Going to talk about this now. Let me pull up my screen here. If you haven't seen it, we are going to talk about this movie in depth. So there will be spoilers. Impossible Dead Reckoning. So movies directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who I think is has become Tom Cruise's muse because they love working together.
Hey, you know what?
If it works, it works, baby.
That we're getting is this. Keep it
going. Yep. This is his 3rd Mission Impossible movie. He directed Fallout and Rogue Nation. He also wrote some on Ghost Protocol, the preceding movie.
And he's one of the 3 main writers on this movie too. And I'm assuming that means the next one. So cast-wise, we have all the returning people. Of course, you got Tom Cruise. Haley Atwell is new. Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson is back. Vanessa Kirby is back, which I didn't know she was going to be back, but I think she's great as the White Widow.
Yeah.
And Palm Clementif, maybe?
Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mantis, yeah. Who I didn't realize that was Mantis until after the movie. I was like, "What? You sure?"
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very different performance.
Because I'm like, man, she is so sexy, hot, like villainy. I gotta look this chick up. Who is this chick? That's Mantis?
It's so different, and that just tells
Sounds like
you
she's
that
acting or something.
she's a badass actress, because this is real different for her, and she's really fun in this movie. So this movie, the basic story, it's another impossible mission situation. This We're gonna immediately get into spoilers. You have been warned. So there is a weapon. It's always a weapon that's gonna destroy the world, whatever it is. And this one is basically an AI, which I think is
So
very
topical.
timely.
Very topical.
Especially considering how many. It's been a number of years in the making, so it's
One of the
interesting
interesting
how
things
much.
about this movie is this was like one of the first biggest productions during COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's notorious because of Tom Cruise's rant.
Yeah.
But he's proven out, because this movie, spoilers for my review, is fucking badass.
Yeah.
I
think
have
we're all in
issues.
agreement on that one.
Yeah, there are problems.
I have issues. I do have issues with the movie, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great thrill ride. It's not like the top of the Mission Impossible franchise for me, but it's definitely a worthy addition to the franchise.
The one thing I will say that annoys me a little bit is you can feel this movie feels like it's a culmination of stories. It feels like we're running full speed ahead into an ending, which is what I thought we were going to have. But now I'm hearing that Tom Cruise and McQuarrie are willing to do more. And I'm like,
I think there's a lot of... Okay, I'll get into this more based on a big character death that happens in the movie. But I think McQuarrie in particular is really just trying to ham up.
I think he's trolling.
Yeah, I really think he's trying. It's like, yeah, they're totally dead. It's never going to come back. That person is completely gone from the franchise. Like, I don't believe that for a second. And then also McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, like, yeah, we're open to more movies like this. Like, no, I think they're done. I think they're lying.
I hope you're right. I honestly hope you're right. I mean, Tom Cruise in his mid-60s at this point. I mean, obviously, he comes from good genes, because he's still more spry than a lot of 40-year-olds. But still, in your mid-60s, how long is Hollywood insurance going to keep paying for you to do the shit that you're doing?
I don't know. If I had that much money, I'd probably be that spry too.
I mean,
reasonable.
No, Tom Cruise is a different level. I don't think anybody can say, oh yeah, if I was whatever conditions are met, I would be just like Tom Cruise. Like, no, you wouldn't. No one would be like Tom Cruise.
True.
Every time
What's
he
up?
learns a new thing.
It's them aliens, man. It's that alien.
It's the things. It's the things. That's all it is. It's like every time he studies for something, like in this one, the big chores of doing the base jumping off a mountain, and him having to learn techniques that will take most people like 3 years to study, and he cuts it in half the time, and then the trainer will go, he is the best person who has ever done this in the history of the sport. It's like it's that happened with the helicopter stuff in Fallout, his underwater breathing or not holding his breath in Rotation. Like, Tom Cruise is a mutant or an alien or something.
It's true.
It's true. It's that alien juice.
Yes.
And Scientology.
Gotta be. But
and now
so anyway,
aliens are real, so it's a possibility.
Right? He probably did come from a ship. So the story starts with a Russian sub that has this new technology on the sub. That sub gets downed, and we kind of step away from that. Then it becomes a battle for the MacGuffin, kind of.
Well, yeah, we see the MacGuffin on the sub,
mm-hmm.
and then it's finding the two half of the keys,
mm-hmm.
which
it's a double MacGuffin, because you need to get the MacGuffins to get to the MacGuffin.
Yeah. And, I would want to complain about that, but that is part of the core DNA of this kind of movie. So it's the MacGuffin is what matters. There would be no Mission Impossible without a MacGuffin. It's got to be impossible.
Well, that's one of the fun things about 3, for instance. Like 3, the MacGuffin, the rabbit's foot, you never know what it does. It's just the thing they have to get to progress the plot.
And that's low-key kind of funny. It adds humor. And quickly, I will say, this movie kind of brings back a little more humor than the last one. There's some really kind of humorous parts in this.
Oh no, the last one had funny moments too.
I guess it did. I don't know. This one really connected with me on some of that stuff. So that's the basic setup without going too more. Is there anything story-wise more than that we need to talk about?
There's a new bad guy. The bad guy outside of the AI.
Yeah.
I guess you could say the human element to it is Gabriel.
But is he new?
Yes.
Well, he is new.
Is he?
New to us. He is not new to
Well, I'll say
Yeah.
the new things that this movie does, that it is new for the franchise, is one, it actually explores an origin story for Ethan Hunt, for Tom Cruise's character. Like we know he has a family, because they talk about like basically holding them hostage almost in one, in all sorts of stuff. Like he's supposed to be like a known entity, but this movie pretty much establishes that he has some sort of criminal or at least nefarious background of some sort that is what led to him getting picked up to be in the IMF, in the Impossible Mission Force.
And I hope
they are given a choice of prison, death, or IMF.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too that this movie does. Like all the rest of the franchise pretty much establishes the IMF as like a typical-ish government agency. Like offices, agents, like bureaucracy is part of the IMF. But in this one, the IMF is really a very cabal-esque agency that operates outside of the means of the United States government. The one of the early scenes of the movie, which really cool scene, Kittredge, the kind of head almost of the IMF in Mission Impossible 1, coming back into this one. But you see him and other members of heads of intelligence agency for the U.S.,
including Carrie Ewell.
Carrie Ewell, head of all of the intelligence agencies, the director of national intelligence, not knowing what the IMF is, despite 2 movies ago getting a Senate hearing on the IMF, and then the last movie, the head of the CIA being well aware of the IMF. So that's one of the criticisms I would make of the movie, about how that was drawing to me. The fact that if he was like some other member, or even the president or something, but the head of the national intelligence should probably be at least aware of the IMF, if not necessarily understanding the intricacies of it.
No, that's fine.
That was a very odd scene for me. But I love the bit right after it, when you have Kittredge and Cruise and Ethan Hunt kind of having their sit down, almost recreation of the scene from Mission Impossible 1. Oh, once it hits all that part, it's on rails. But the weird mythologizing of the IMF was kind of train. It's on rails until it's off rails.
It's kind of funny because I was laughing because you were talking about talking about this cool scene, and I remember some other asshole complaining about that scene, but I think kind of complaining about it in the same space that you just complained.
Well, my issues with that scene are you have 2 pages of just solid dialogue that needs to be said. It's a massive exposition scene. The problem I have with it is there's 10 people in this room, and it's bouncing from one person to the next, almost like it was the same dialogue, and they're like, we got to break this up. You get this line, you get this line, you get that line. And it's creepy almost, in a way, to where everyone's like, imagine I'm talking now, and then all of a sudden Steven started talking, and it was like seamless, like the same character.
Yeah, it's that idea of like you have a hive mind that is choosing to talk at one line out of one person and then opposite the next one. I do agree. I like that scene, that first half, I think is very drawing for that respect, and also like the weird discrepancy of the IMF in the world that it exists given the other movies. Because there is a canon. Like, this movie is very much in line with Fallout, in line with Rogue Nation, in line with Ghost Protocol, in line with 3. You could discount 1 and 2 a little bit, but there is a through line in similar elements. So this one kind of making it different is drawing, like I said.
So for me, well, I actually enjoy that scene, and it's not necessarily that I think you guys are wrong, because you're right, but I love the delivery. Like, if you look at how the lines ping pong around between people, but look at the melodramatic, so serious but not serious way it's delivered. It feels like old episodes of that show or old Bond movies that are overly melodramatic. I was enjoying it for that. It just felt like so classic in that way. The problems that you bring up are absolutely true, but they would be true of those movies too. So in that way, I was kind of enjoying it. But yeah, it's a hiccup in an otherwise fantastic movie.
The only problem is it's like what they're saying is needed.
Yeah.
It's just the way they go about it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you had a line or two in breaking those up, we could save some time. But at 2 hours and 43 minutes,
Yeah, we've got to be.
And this is not
already.
even the whole movie. Like, this is half of the movie.
Yeah, this is part one.
Yeah. So that setup happens, and like you said, yeah, we're kind of off to the races at that point. And this movie is long not because of the story. It's long because of the action sequences. These action sequences are some of them are really long, and there's a lot of them. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change a damn thing about them.
I'll be real though. So let's name some of these action scenes.
Yeah.
So we have an action chase in the streets.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, we kind of have not really action-y, but we have some suspense thriller bits in the airport. So you get the Abu Dhabi airport.
Right. Oh my God, is this a bomb now? It's a puzzle.
And then of course Tom Cruise has to run on top of a building.
The point I was getting at was, we have a chase scene in, I think, France or somewhere.
It's in Rome. It goes to the airport to Rome with the very intricate chase scene.
Wait, what's the point? Get to the point.
The point is, when this came out, just a week and a half or so previously, Indiana Jones had a chase scene and $300 million in, I guess, filming in a studio set with AC, and it was boring as shit. And then here comes Mission Impossible and goes, hey, we're going to film this, and we're going to really film it and really do it, and we're going to crush 80 motorcycles, and we're going to have a giant fuck-off tank of a character chase this tiny little, car that our heroes are in.
Rome, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
You can't overlook the fact that there's similarities in the big car chase scene and the train scene.
Another movie with a train scene, and one is fucking boring, and the other is amazing.
CGI Harrison Ford bouncing across the top of a train versus Tom Cruise actually running across said train. Yeah. It's weird. It's kind of disturbing having them so close together like that.
And I just want to go to the Mission Impossible train. They fucking built that train because there's no way the train people for whatever country they're in, they're like, no, you're not going to destroy one of our trains. Are you fucking stupid? So they're like, okay, well, what if we build the train ourselves? And they're like, sure, destroy it if you want.
They built the train. They found a bridge that was okay to direct. They actually filmed in Rome for all the chase stuff. They filmed in Venice for all the Venice stuff, which Venice you can't drive in Venice. So they had to boat and then carry in all the equipment for that.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Zach, can you look up the budget real quick?
It's around about $295 million.
What was Indy's?
300.
About the same.
See, and the weird thing is Indy's budget is they're both. They're both super because Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning was supposed to come out 2 years ago, COVID wrecked everything.
Yeah, and I can understand. I can understand Mission Impossible's budget because they were filming during COVID. I bet you insurance and shit was out the ass.
Okay, but don't forget
the COVID processes for filming during COVID because this was one of the first movies back.
Yeah,
but don't forget, as much as we may have our issues with it, that de-aging technology is fucking expensive. It's expensive.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That was the point I'm getting at is Mission Impossible.
But that's what I'm saying is they spent a lot of their money on paying Harrison Ford, and
you don't think Tom Cruise got a payment, but Tom Cruise is also a producer, so he's reinvesting in the movie. Yeah, he's getting back in shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But my point of that is roughly the same cost. Disney and Lucasfilm sunk a large amount of their money in the de-aging and the CGI processing, and it doesn't return on investment like the money spent on Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can not like the Mission Impossible movies. It's fine. Maybe they're not for you, but you can look at those movies, and every dollar spent is on the screen.
Yeah, it's like I can understand the CGI when, you know, he's on that ramp and he has to jump off a real fucking motorcycle into a cavern, you know, like into this pit. And he's really fucking doing it. And he's saying lines while jumping and base jumping and
Yeah.
shit. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine. CG the ramp, do everything else real. I can forgive CGI over here because everything else is real. So my brain is going, holy shit.
Yeah, it sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like, CGI questionable, but you're so in it because of the real pieces. But then sometimes there's so much real stuff on screen when there is a pop of CGI, you're like, ooh, oh.
No,
I would
the
say
only
that's
time
the ramp. That like the ramp is like that is the pop of CGI. Is like obviously everything else there is real except how they had the CGI brush over the ramp. And again, the jump happened. He jumped off of a mountain and then paraglided off of that jump. The only thing they CGI'd was to hide a manufactured ramp to make it look like part of the mountain.
I mean, directly the only time the CGI just straight up, like, I did not feel anything was when they were jumping from car to car as it's hanging off, because that is, you know, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And it felt like, okay, we're going to have to really do a lot of CG here. And it only stands out because the rest of the film is so real to where when they're like, we can't do this one for real, we got to go CG. But I still felt it when they were in the train cars. They were really vertical and they're hanging off and jumping. I felt it there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like they get a pass only because it's like, guys, we can't do this. We did everything else, but we can't do this. It's like, that's fine. Well,
and the sequence, I didn't realize, I just assumed it was really good CGI when they're hanging from the train. I didn't realize till after you and I talked about it that, oh no, that was real. They built the train.
I thought the train crash was fake.
Yeah.
I'm like, they didn't crash it. No.
Fucking crashed the train.
Did.
They crashed it. Yeah. Well, that's great because I remember thinking, man, what I thought to myself is, why did the CGI on the ramp look kind of and this looks so good? Well, okay, now then I understand. Now
they attached 6 cameras to it.
I got it.
Did it?
I got it. So we can focus on this part of it all day long because that roller coaster aspect of it is near perfection throughout this movie. The car chase scene is incredible because there's cars, they're actually moving. One of my favorite moments of levity in it is in the car chase scene. And it's because Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell have pretty good chemistry together. Yeah. It's when the car flips over and she's back on the driver's side. She's like, oh no, not again.
I like it when she's like, you know what, go for it.
I mean, that's just a brilliant piece of comedy of like, okay, we're gonna have to do the car chase. Let's handcuff ourselves and do it on the opposite arms so that we have to go through the zany antics to drive through the entire car chase. And then they get the freaking Lupin the Third Fiat to go through Rome from Castle Cagliostro. It's like, this is genius.
I will say,
it's really about that, but as soon as you say it, it's like, yeah, it is the Lupin the Third.
One thing that popped out for me that kind of disconnected me for like maybe 15 seconds from the movie is in that car scene, in that car chase. There's one point where Haley Atwell turns a corner and barely misses this car. And then Palm Clementif comes in with this giant ass tank right behind her, makes that same turn, car's gone. And it was just something small like that just hit my brain. I was like, where did that car go? Huh.
I didn't even notice.
I can forgive it because the rest of the car scene chase was phenomenal.
So here's a little something in this car chase scene is one of the places where it really stands out to me that I'm not. This is tough for me because I'm not a big fan. I'm actually someone who hates on Easter eggs at this point for homage sake. But if you're a film person, you're only going to get this if you're a film person. But the first movie, directed by Brian De Palma, if you know his style and you watch this movie, this movie is an homage to Brian De Palma.
Oh yeah, there's
in
no
Lynn's
diopter
choices. In Lynn's choices in the way those cars are shot in that car chase sequence with those nice anamorphic like style flares and stuff off the lights. I'm like, that's Brian De Palma right there.
There's no diopters.
There's none of that, and there's no real like split screen, which is fine. That I don't remember him doing any split screen in the first one, but one of the things that De Palma does, and I think I was trying to remember which movie I noticed it first, but it's heavy in the first Mission Impossible, and it's heavy in this one too, is in moments of heavy drama or heavy importance, he puts the camera on the floor and shoots up the nose of the character. You can look, everything's dropped cameras shooting up, their chin is like really like shadowed and their face like noir style. I saw that for the first time in that scene that you guys hate. I'm like, I gotta love you, baby. This is De Palma right here. This is Brian De Palma. And if you are listening to this and you are not familiar with De Palma's work, the first Mission Impossible, go watch Carrie. There's a Nicolas Cage, Scarface, Snake Eyes is a good one to watch.
Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah, Blowout is great. There's a really great Criterion of Blowout. Anyway, this movie said, hey, if we're coming to an end, let's go back from the beginning. And it does that subtly with the shooting style. It says, hey, remember that first movie? We're looking like that now. And I just love that because it just gives you so many more layers. And if you didn't notice it watching it, good for you, because now you can go back and watch it again and see all that shit that's in there. Because this, like, McQuarrie, he's got that J.J. Abrams thing where if he wants to riff on somebody, he fucking riff on them, because this definitely feels like a De Palma movie.
Him riffing on that style feels appropriate.
It is appropriate. It's not gratuitous.
No,
you could, if you told me you didn't notice, I'd be like, yeah, all right, that's fine. I just really love Brian De Palma, and when I see it, I'm like, ooh, I wish I could do that.
I do want to like just say, and every movie has this, but every time it always is just amazing. Every Mission Impossible movie has just the fucking hottest women ever, as every girl is just smoking hot.
With that,
it's very important.
It is important. That does bring us back to where we should follow up on the story a little bit, because we've kind of gotten off, rightfully so, on the action. So, but that is a good segue back into the story, because it involving the female characters. One thing about the female characters in this is, and one of the big problems with Mission Impossible 2 is the main female character in that movie.
Zoe Saldana?
Huh?
Zoe Saldana.
No, it was Thandie Newton.
No, it's not. It's
Mission Impossible 2.
Thandie Newton is who's in that one.
Are you fucking...
Yeah, for sure. From Westworld and all that. Yeah, that's the first time I ever saw Thandie Newton. But she is basically just a damsel in distress.
Damn it!
Told you. In the good movies, they are badasses in and of themselves.
Yeah.
And Rebecca Ferguson came on the scene. We had just seen her in
Dune.
No, the one that stood out to me was when she was Rose the Hat.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep. I was like, holy shit, she's gorgeous, but she's also badass actor. And she comes into Mission Impossible and kicks ass. Quickly became one of my favorite characters. Boy, spoilers.
It hurt, boy.
When she gets killed in this movie, I got pissed. I was like, under my breath in the theater, fuck you, movie. I was like so mad. That's
one of the reasons that I buy it.
Yeah, Nico doesn't buy it, and he's convinced me that it's really possible she's not actually dead.
I don't know, man. She got stabbed in the fucking heart.
Yeah, but
the franchise can totally pull it off.
It wasn't like they stab her and quickly cut away. Like, you fucking see her body many times. I don't know. And it's plausible to me, because if we are running to an end, let's finish these characters off. And that does lead to a part that bothers me, though, because she is such a badass fighter, right? And this guy kills her. And then Haley Atwell's character had also put up a fight. And I like Haley Atwell as an actor. I'm interested in her character, but she seems in this movie, she's a thief, right? Basically a thief. But she seems to be a little more badass than her character leads me to believe. And I'm hoping we learn some other meat on the bone for her character in the next movie, because it's one thing to be a badass thief, but she's like a pretty badass fighter too.
Well,
Obviously, she's not much on the driving, but that's fine. But
part of the reason I don't think that I'm suspicious that the Elsa Faust character is dead or not is one. It's if she is, it's super playing into the what seems to be a through line of a lot of Mission Impossible movies of you need one girl on the team and
Only one.
Well, only one girl on the team, and it's like, okay, we have a new girl with Haley Atwell, so we have to kill Rebecca Ferguson. It's like, no, that's way too on the nose. I don't think they're doing that. And two,
but his main thing is Luther's interaction. Okay,
I was gonna say, what is my main thing, Tina? As you were saying, Luther's interaction after the post-death scene, especially with Haley Atwell, when she goes like describing how Rebecca Ferguson, she died to save me. It's like, or no, she's dead because of me. And Luther goes, no, you're alive because of her. Not acknowledging that she's dead. And then Luther's, as the character basically pieces out for the rest of the movie, he tells Ethan's like, hey, this computer stuff, I need to go work on that privately.
Off the grid.
I need to basically go down in a bunker and learn how to hack this AI with Morse code. I just need to go off the grid. I'm just thinking, okay, Luther's in on it. Benji's not because he would blow it. So Luther's in on it. Ilsa's alive. That's my theory.
So,
I could be wrong in a year. We'll find out. But that's my theory.
That would kind of weirdly make me mad.
That would make me mad because that feels like a betrayal of character.
Yeah, it because the emotional beat of her death was so powerful. If it's a character you like, it means so. It's kind of like when they try to it's like a Marvel trick. Let's be real. It's like an MCU trick.
Explanation too is because the entity, and I'm putting a lot of conspiracy theory tinfoil hat on. Luther is the one who really sells this to me, the Ving Rhames character, because he's talking to Ethan about how much like this entity knows you. It knows you are literally the only person on Earth who is going to try to destroy it as opposed to use it, which is the main motivation of why Ethan Hunt seems to be like the focus of this computer program, because of all the algorithms and deductions that this computer program has made. The only person on planet Earth who will try to destroy it as opposed to use it for their own or sell it, use it for whatever they want, they will try to destroy it, is Ethan Hunt, because Ethan Hunt is a superhuman being. So it has to stop Ethan, and the best way to do it is to kill his love interest. And now,
or friends.
So, but in Luther's like, I need Ethan to think that Ilsa's dead, because that's what the AI is trying to do.
That's
not tricking Ethan. It's more so tricking the entity.
It's tricking both.
That makes some sense. That fucking makes some sense.
Yeah,
because the only way
I'd still be pissed.
But it makes some sense because that really
cannot mean more than this mission. But we've seen time and time again that Ethan will put his friends' lives above the mission.
Yeah, so they have to fool Ethan. Ethan does not know. In my theory, in my conspiracy theory, he doesn't know. What they could end up doing, I think, at the end of the movie is at the end of the next part, if they don't want to really sell this as a real thing, but hint it, is they could go Dark Knight Rises, and you have a scene of Ethan, and you have like the back of Rebecca Ferguson's head, but she never turns. So it's like, oh, she's possibly alive, but we may not know who that is.
I kind of want her to stay dead because it just impacted me so much. You know, it's kind of like when they tried to. The first thing I think is when they tried to bring fucking Coulson back, and it was such a good death for him.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about in your conspiracy theory is one of the cooler parts of this movie that I love. Is while our visual of the AI is Hollywoodized, we have to have some kind of visual to attach to. The way that they have the AI created scenarios by basically scraping the internet and creating its scenarios on other tools, like other existing things. It's like but it also ties into the whole black box theory that's going on with AI for real right now, where AI learns something it was never supposed to learn. All of that is in there in this movie, and what you're saying could actually 100% make sense, because the only way they can throw off the AI's algorithm is to have something that's not part of the algorithm, which is
And I'm fine if that
really
doesn't
cool.
be the case. It's just my theory.
It's
I will
really-
say this. They need to be, Benji specifically needs to be smarter in the next movie about what tools he uses. Because at the end of the movie, he's driving a smart car, a car that is plugged in to.
I kept fucking thinking that too.
I'm
Damn it.
fully expecting the car to be hijacked by the entity, because let's face it, the car would be hijacked by the entity.
I actually do think this is a flaw of not getting a point across that it wanted to in the movie. Because like when Benji is on the radio with Ethan saying, it's like, I'm under a lot of stress right now, and when he's switching to self-drive, to the autopilot, you see that he kind of has a cautious moment about it. I think we're supposed to get that he is contemplating, this could fuck me over, that the AI could do it, but I don't think it's sold that well enough.
Right. So we have to talk about another character, and this character actually, and we briefly mentioned him a second ago, but this character brings in some really cool, thoughtful social commentary into the movie without pounding you in the face with it like another movie that we saw last week, and that is Isa Morales' character, because we get him. We did talk about how he's part of Ethan's backstory, but also he has an interesting position in this movie where the AI basically the AI knows and is using his past connection with Ethan as a tool, but he's also using Isa Morales' character as a worshiper. And what I think is fascinating is you have this meeting of cult-like status with an artificial intelligence, which is some shit that's going to happen.
Well, you have a character named Gabriel, who worships a higher power.
Basically,
it
is not subtle.
The entity is God, and Gabriel is the fucking Pope.
It is not subtle at all in the slightest with that meaning.
Well, okay, so
I even picked that up.
I mean, I'm saying it. Okay, so here's the difference. I'm saying it's subtle, and I'm just going to be flat out blatant about it. Is they have the names, and it's easy to pick up, but they don't stop the movie and say it to you the way Barbie did. They leave it for you to see.
Dude, I'm going to be real. You brought up, like, unlike some other movie, and I'm like, what other movie is he talking about?
Well, I'm talking about from the social commentary and the underlying tones.
I forgot about
Barbie. I'm like, let us soak it in and gather it and not stop the movie and say it. And they haven't done that, not in this one. They might do it in the next one, though. They still very well could when this thing all comes to a head. But I love that that's just there. It's part of the movie. And I actually think it's kind of speaking to us where we're going with AI and all this stuff. I think it's there.
I mean, to me, one of the scarier elements of the film was, they go into this big old warehouse and there's 500 people typing on typewriters.
Yeah,
trying to get information in a written form. It's
because they're afraid we're about to fucking lose it.
I'm like, oh god,
or be manipulated.
It's almost reminiscent of like the Y2K scare.
Yeah,
like,
it is very much like Y2K given a personality and a motive.
Yeah,
and I love the entity as a bad guy. I think it works really well. I think it's just coincidental that it's so timely right now, but it works so incredibly well in the movie's favor. I really wish this was doing, like, more people were seeing this movie, and it's just a sign of how screwed up this summer is in terms of scheduling.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a great bad guy.
The other thing that screwed this movie was that it came out just as the strike was starting too. So people were like, "Oh, what am I supposed to do? Do I step away? Am I promoting? What are we doing?" Well, I think it's just unfortunate.
Well, it's also like the last movie that got actual promotion as it was out. Like the Oppenheimer crew left the red carpet premiere in England because the strike was announced.
Yeah.
Even though they still had another day. So
yeah.
So yeah, Tina just kicked out our dog. So but yeah, I had a through line, and then I lost that.
I have something that Nico didn't really have issue with, but it still bugs me. And it's again the small details that I pick up on is Haley Atwell impersonating the White Widow. Why was she not wearing contacts? Because with the White Widow, you see she has like these vibrant, like almost like
Blue.
sea glass green eyes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With Haley Atwell, they're rich, chocolatey brown. And many times as she's impersonating the White Widow, she's looking people straight in the eyes, like the brother, the guy who's known her since she was a kid. Why did none of them pick up on, hey, weird question, why are your eyes brown?
I think
Some do.
I think that was a cinematic conceit so that we can more easily track the difference. But
Yeah.
I understand the complaint.
I mean,
Mhm. It makes sense. It makes sense as a complaint. I get it.
I mean, real talk, Vanessa Kirby, you're beautiful.
Also, real talk, Vanessa Kirby nailed that transition.
Yes.
Because, of course,
Yeah.
her acting
Yeah.
is she's got to act as Haley Atwell, acting as her.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job. She's
She
great.
really did. There's an internet push for her as Sue Storm right now, and I'm here for it.
Ooh.
I think she'd be
Oh,
great.
yeah. I would love
she
it.
would be great.
Yeah. All right. So there are problems, and
Oh, yeah.
we probably need to be running toward the end here. So I'll start it off because I really want to talk about
Not
the
Tom Cruise
issue that I
running.
have with
can't
this.
do that right now.
What's that?
Not Tom Cruise running. I can't do that right now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No problem. The biggest problem I have with this movie is that it's a two-parter. And I've had some discussions with some other people on TikTok, and they're like, yeah, but this movie has a beginning, middle, and end. It's complete. And I'm like, well, what's the complete? They're like, oh, well, they got the key. I'm like, that's the end of Act 2.
Yeah, that is.
That's the end of Act 2. You get the keys together, then you go after the big bad. That's the way this movie should have gone. And I know there's a lot of information. There's a lot happening. It's still not, for me, a complete thought because of that. It kind of just stops.
I do have to ask, though, in this case, because we've had this conversation before. You didn't like it with Dune, and it makes sense there.
I did not, yeah.
Is there a case where a movie broken up between part 1 and part 2 works?
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, yeah. That was going to be my answer.
Lord of the
immediately.
Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Well, I think Lord of the Rings, I think, okay, yeah, I guess. I was going to say Lord of the Rings is a very different case because of how it is a set thing with divisions that work well. Unlike Dune, which is breaking up the middle of a book, Lord of the Rings, well, it doesn't actually align with how those books end. It at least kind of hits some of the narrative beats in a way that splits it up.
Now, I will say in this particular situation, Dune is the worst offender still, because the vast majority of Dune is just world building.
Yeah.
We get the world built and the fucking movie stops. I'm like, when's something gonna happen, boys? When's something gonna happen?
I mean,
And it all is pushed to the next movie. And when I can watch them together, then we'll
when we do that IMAX double feature in Chattanooga, yeah, it'll
be
be
like,
great.
yeah, okay, perfect. But this one is not as bad of an offender in that way. And to be honest, looking at the movie, the only thing you could do, you could make this one movie. You would have to trim up all those action scenes and actually spend some more time on your story. And that would hurt my heart a little bit because they're so fun. So,
Nah, keep it the same.
yeah. So, but yeah, that for me is an issue. It's just like, you didn't finish the story. I think it would have been more interesting if they could have finished the movie here, but carried the character situations over. You know, like a serialized show. What happens in this episode is done, but there's character things that still need to be handled, and that plays over into the next movie. And they've kind of done that in this franchise already. We've seen it done well. So that's an issue for me. I don't know if you guys probably are not bothered as much by that as I am, but any other issues that anybody had?
I think I hit my main one about the weird, basically going against the grain of the canon of the franchise. And not that I think Mission Impossible is very weird because it's just because they have reinforced their own canon multiple times before. And then them kind of just turning what we understand of the IMF on its head about making it this extra clandestine cabal organization that's not actually part of like a government bureaucracy structure.
Right.
That's like I found that grating just because of my knowledge of the previous movies. But in terms of as a product in and of itself, discounting the fact that it's not in and of itself because of the second part, is you just went over. I still really enjoyed a lot of this movie. I just, the only thing I don't like is the eye rubs me the wrong way inside the product is we got a new female character to join the team, so we got to kill the other female character that's already in the team. I understand we got to raise stakes because it's supposed to be the end of Ethan Hunt, but I don't think we needed to do that.
All right, Tina.
The thing I hate most about this movie is also the thing I love the most is the attention to detail. Like, again, I could go on about their constructing of the train for like decades, but again, on the flip side, those eyeballs, the car that was there 1 second, gone the next, like small details throughout it that this team would normally be expected to catch because of how meticulous they are in everything else. It, like, maybe it's my ADHD, but like those things just really pull me out of a movie sometimes.
I think that's really funny because this is usually a Zach complaint.
I know it's weird. Don't compare me to him.
I know it hurts. Speaking of him,
So, I guess my first thought is number one, fuck you. I guess my biggest complaint. This is gonna sound so fucking stupid. Lack of IMAX.
Oh,
Like, I know
care about that.
you are the motherfucker that's like, I just saw Mission Impossible. Boys, you need to see this in IMAX. So that night at 10:45.
Then you should have texted me back and said, "Oh, well, this wasn't shot in IMAX format, so don't bother."
Well,
That's what you should have done. But you didn't.
But
What I said was there are some shots in here that would look beautiful in the IMAX theater.
and let me tell you what that IMAX theater, the best part of it was. That fucking sound.
Oh, I don't doubt that. That sounds
Boy, we're talking best of the year sound mix contender.
So you can't be mad that they didn't choose to shoot in IMAX. So what is a real?
Well, they did the previous film. They shot,
did.
Yeah, they shot
did.
entire sequences with
And
it.
I don't understand if they did that. Why they didn't do that for this one?
Apparently, they did shoot some things, but it wasn't really enough to justify
warrant
it.
an IMAX.
Yeah.
All right.
So they just said, okay, everything 235. Biggest issues for me would be some of the pacing.
Okay.
Some of it can be a little lull after the action scenes, you know, because you're coming off of those, so it can kind of have a lull. And it is a lot. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes. So it's quite a lot.
It just fucking flew by, though.
It did. You know, as much as I praise it, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is.
It's not Oppenheimer, but
for me, it's easily top 10 of the year.
Oh yeah.
Who knows where it's going to be in the list because the year has a lot left to go.
Tina just walked out of the room to prep the bottle for the baby, but she resoundingly agreed with you.
Okay. Do you guys have a score? What score did you guys give it?
I gave it on the Letterboxd 5-star scale. I gave it 4.
I think I gave it a 4, 4.5, something like that.
Yeah, Zach?
I'm at a 4, but if I did it out of 10, 8.5.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel like I should be. Like,
4.25
on the limit.
Spot.
Yeah. What'd you say?
4.25. That's the sweet spot.
There you go.
That's
But
the
you
sweet spot. But you can't do quarters, unfortunately. Damn it.
That's why I do out of 10.
Yeah, but it was a great movie. I think the biggest travesty is it's kind of been overlooked, and that sucks.
Yeah.
It really, like you said, the fact that like Barbie and Oppenheimer came, was it like a week or 2 weeks? It was like
2 weeks.
It was like
Yeah.
the whole summer is just screwed over, which is ridiculous.
I mean,
I'm fine when bad movies get overlooked. Like I'm fine, other than my football game, I'm fine that hardly anyone went to go see The Flash.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that sucks about this for me is what were the numbers on Fallout?
I don't remember.
About the same.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the quality is there. The money is there. Like Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie like clearly give a shit. And it's people just don't see it.
Well, the reality is if the numbers were about the same, that there is a positive spin on that it's an entity that is predictable. You know what it's going to do. Now, I had hoped and thought that they would, see a little bit of drafting off of the success of Maverick. Like people would pay a little more attention to what Cruise is doing. And I think if the theater wasn't so crowded, maybe they would have.
I mean, can we go into numbers?
Yeah.
I mean, this has yet to hit 150 million.
What? It's that low?
At 142.
Oh God.
And think about this. Barbie opened to what? 162.
Yeah, on its opening weekend.
I mean, it hurts.
But
It hurts.
Barbie is a genre, like it crosses all demos. Barbie does.
I know, but it's
little kids wanted to see it. Grandmas, everybody wanted to see Barbie.
I know, but
I think the other thing too with Mission Impossible, like you said, Stephen, about hopefully it kind of coming off the tailwind of Maverick. But on your note of Barbie, it crosses a lot of boxes, a lot of genres that would get a lot of people, and it's a bit fresher in terms of the kind of product compared to another Tom Cruise stunt piece, which unfortunately may just be what this is seen as. The problem is that's a great product, that Tom Cruise stunt piece.
It is
well crafted, but I think Barbie is just a little bit fresher for something the audience is wanting to see right now.
Also based on 50, 60-year-old IP, with generations of people that collected those dolls and played with them and that kind of thing. So I guess it's
based on a really old IP too. I
would say it's really old, Mr. Born less than a decade before.
Mission Impossible started in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Like I forgot about I was gonna tie in. So the Shea Wiggum character, who has this unexplained animosity towards Ethan Hunt. His character's last name, Briggs, is one of the character last names of the show.
That's amazing.
And actually, a cut scene from the Mission Impossible 1, the De Palma movie, what is that character, the TV show, like recruiting or talking to Hunt. So I think that's supposed to tie in a little bit more into Ethan Hunt's backstory once we get more Shea Wiggum in the next movie.
I will say that's one of the things I did like one of the cool little aspects of the black guy going, but like, what if Ethan has a really good reason for this? And they're like,
what if he is just a good guy?
Yeah.
I guess the biggest little benefit from this is Tina had to catch up on all the movies, and now she's in the Mission Impossible fan base. She's with us.
I think I'm going to re-rank. I'm going to wait until
Dead Reckoning 2.
And I'm going to re-rank my movies because the more it sits with me, I want to move up Rogue Nation and probably Fallout 2. But because those movies are so good, and they're like the foundation of the McCoy arc of Mission Impossible.
Honestly, the tough part is I don't think I can fairly rank them without rewatching them, because some of them I haven't seen in a long time, and I need to like look at them with fresh eyes. So I'm gonna have to binge the whole thing. I need to watch them all again.
Let's be honest. I think we can all agree too. You don't need to rewatch too.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Fallout or 6, 5, 8, 4, 3, 1, 2.
I'd have to watch them again. Yeah, I'd have to watch them again. I don't know.
I mean, but there's a huge gap between 2 and or 1 and 2, like a massive. Like you can't even see the bottom of that gap.
I don't know. I have to think about that.
2 goes in the fucking doghouse.
Charts where it's like, here's the depth, and it's like just small increments, and then it's like Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like this close between films.
Yeah,
we're talking. Yeah, 2 is we're talking Meg level.
Yeah, for real.
Under the Marianas Trench.
I don't know. The Meg might be too good of a film for 2.
It might be. All right, let's bring it to an end. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be reviewing Oppenheimer coming up next, I think, and then there's so many movies. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out. I'll be seeing that this weekend.
We have to talk about Talk to Me. So.
Got to talk about Talk to Me.
Yeah, some people went and saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But as I anticipated, it's so funny. Pre-show,
Damn it.
Zach's like, "What are we going to talk about?" I'm like, "Mission Impossible." You're like, "That's all?" I'm like, "Yeah." And what did we do? We went over an hour.
You talked about Insidious and Mission Impossible.
Yeah, we were on
asshole.
Insidious for less than 10 minutes.
Still,
It was plenty of time because we could talk about some movies on here. All right, let's bring it to an end. Nico?
stupid fucking.
All right, I'll just keep it too since you took the baby away. For me, you can find everything I do at nicholasqualls.com. It links to my Twitter or X now, and also my letterbox.
Ew.
Yeah, it's I hate Elon Musk with a passion. I actually I my phone was going to update the app and I stopped it so it didn't change the icon. And I have a Chrome extension that changes it so it still has the Twitter logo and not the X logo.
That's funny.
It also does some other quality of life improvements on Twitter. But also Instagram's on there, Mastodon, which I never post on, Letterboxd, so you can check on that. I need to put up my Turtles ranking. I think I did put up my Turtles ranking. So see what score I gave it. I haven't put thoughts yet.
Okay, cool.
And Tina, she's on all finer social medias, so no longer Twitter, under Cheddar Popper, CHEDRPOPPR.
All right, cool. Zachy boy.
Well, since I could talk here for a second, I just want to thank the filmmakers of Mission Impossible for also adding 3 techno songs in the last film. I forgot to say that.
Oh.
I've been listening to those songs. They're so good, man. Anyway, you can find me. I forgot, and I was going to get it out. God damn it.
Get it out.
You can find me on Letterboxd and Master Z91. You can also find me on Discord and Steam, A Dangerous Meat Lunatic. I've been playing Lisa, the definitive edition. Lisa the Painful. I've already beat it once many years ago, but hey, this definitive edition is just great.
Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram, Master of the Matrix 91.
All right. So find me at Threads, Instagram, and TikTok under OTS Movies. I do nightly live streams over there on TikTok, so you got to come and join those conversations. It's more temporarily not talking about film. We talk about random weird shit now because that's how life is. But yeah, do that. And I guess I was going to say something else and it's like gone for me. I forgot it. So let's bring it to an end. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye, everybody.
Zoo.